Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Finance Breakdown. Today we are taking a close look at one of India's major private sector players, Axis Bank.
Absolutely. Axis Bank, a big name in banking, with significant subsidiaries like Axis Finance, Axis AMC, Axis Capital, and Axis Securities contributing to its overall picture. They've just released their numbers, so let's dive in.
Right. So, we are looking at their audited financial results, both standalone for Axis Bank itself and consolidated for the entire group, for the fourth quarter and the full financial year ended March 31st, 2025. The Board of Directors approved these results on April 24th, 2025.
That's correct. And the board meeting also came with a few key decisions. They've recommended a final dividend of 1 rupee per equity share, which is 50% of the face value. Plus, they've approved plans to raise significant capital, up to 35,000 crore rupees through debt instruments and up to 20,000 crore rupees through equity or related instruments, subject to approvals of course. They also greenlit an increase in the overall borrowing limit to a hefty 3 lakh crore rupees.
Okay, quite a bit happening alongside the results. Let's get into the core numbers. How did the bank perform on the top line and bottom line for Q4 and the full year? Let's start with the standalone results for the bank itself.
Okay, looking at the standalone P&L for Q4 FY25, net interest income, or NII, came in at 13,811 crore rupees. That's up about 6% year-over-year compared to Q4 FY24. Other income stood at 6,780 crore rupees, a decent jump mainly driven by fees. So total standalone income for the quarter was 38,022 crore rupees, up 6% year-over-year.
And the profit?
Standalone profit after tax, or PAT, for Q4 FY25 was 7,117 crore rupees. Interestingly, this was almost flat compared to the 7,130 crore rupees in Q4 FY24, but it showed a strong 13% growth quarter-over-quarter from Q3 FY25.
Flat year-over-year profit despite rising income. What about the full year standalone picture?
For the full financial year 25, standalone NII grew 9% year-over-year to 54,348 crore rupees. Total income was up 12% to nearly 1,48,000 crore rupees. Standalone PAT for FY25 rose 6% year-over-year to 26,373 crore rupees compared to 24,861 crore rupees in FY24.
Got it. Now, how does the consolidated picture compare for Q4 and the full year? That includes the subsidiaries we mentioned.
Right, the consolidated numbers are slightly different as expected. For Q4 FY25, the consolidated PAT was 7,475 crore rupees. This is actually down slightly year-over-year from 7,599 crore rupees in Q4 FY24, but again shows a healthy 11% increase quarter-over-quarter.
Okay, so standalone PAT was flat YoY for the quarter, while consolidated was slightly down YoY. What about the full year consolidated PAT?
For the full year FY25, consolidated PAT reached 28,055 crore rupees. That's a solid 6.3% increase compared to the 26,386 crore rupees they posted in FY24. So both standalone and consolidated profits showed growth for the full year.
What about EPS, earnings per share?
The consolidated basic EPS for the full year FY25 stood at 90.77 rupees, up from 85.62 rupees in FY24.
Okay, let's talk profitability metrics. How are the margins looking?
The net interest margin, or NIM, is a key one here. For Q4 FY25, the standalone NIM was 3.97%, which is actually up 4 basis points quarter-over-quarter, holding quite steady in a tight environment. For the full year FY25, the standalone NIM was 3.98%. On the return metrics for the full year FY25, standalone return on assets, or ROA, was 1.74% and return on equity, or ROE, was 16.52%. The consolidated ROA was slightly higher at 1.77% and consolidated ROE was 16.89%.
So decent returns and stable margins. Were there any significant one-off items, exceptional items impacting these results?
Looking at the main P&L, there are no exceptional items listed for either standalone or consolidated results in FY25 or Q4, suggesting fairly clean operating performance reflected in the PAT. However, it's worth noting from the standalone notes that due to RBI notifications, the bank reversed excess provisions related to government-guaranteed security receipts on loans transferred to the NARCL, amounting to about 800 crore rupees in Q4 FY25, which would have positively impacted the profit. Also, there's the usual impact of ESOP expenses.
Understood. Let's shift to the balance sheet. What are the key highlights there? Capital adequacy, deposits advances.
Key standalone figures as of March 31, 2025. Total deposits reached 11,72,952 crore rupees, showing a solid 10% year-over-year growth on a month-end basis. Advances grew 8% year-over-year to 10,40,811 crore rupees. The CASA ratio on a quarterly average balance basis was 38%. Capital adequacy ratio or CR remains strong at 17.07%. Standalone and consolidated. Well above the regulatory requirement, with the Common Equity Tier 1 or CET1 ratio at 14.67%. The bank actually added 93 basis points to its CET1 ratio through organic capital accretion during FY25.
That sounds quite healthy on the capital front. How about cash flows and any dividends paid out?
Looking at the standalone cash flow statement for FY25, net cash generated from operating activities was strong at 49,412 crore rupees. Net cash used in investing activities was 52,008 crore rupees, largely due to increases in investments and loans. Net cash used in financing activities was 12,288 crore rupees, reflecting some repayment of borrowings. And as mentioned, a dividend of 1 rupee per share has been recommended, which will be paid after shareholder approval, likely impacting next year's cash flow. The consolidated cash flow shows a similar pattern.
Okay, now let's break down the performance by business segments. The segment report gives us the consolidated view, right?
Yes, the segment results are typically presented on a consolidated basis. For financial year 25, we see four main segments. The Treasury segment reported a profit before tax of 7,196 crore rupees. Then there's Retail Banking, which is a real powerhouse, contributing 10,792 crore rupees to the profit before tax for the full year. And its total assets are huge, around 6,65,000 crore rupees. Corporate Wholesale Banking was also a major contributor, bringing in 13,235 crore rupees in profit before tax for the year, with assets around 4,45,000 crore rupees. Finally, the Other Banking Business segment showed a profit before tax of 5,102 crore rupees.
So retail and corporate wholesale are clearly the main profit drivers for the group. Any notable trends within these segments in Q4?
In Q4 specifically, Corporate Wholesale Banking showed the highest profit before tax at 3,930 crore rupees, followed closely by Retail Banking at 2,831 crore rupees. Treasury profit was lower for the quarter at 1,287 crore rupees. Retail continues its strong growth trajectory, especially in loans and fees, while corporate wholesale remains a significant and steady contributor.
Putting it all together, how would you summarize the bank's performance year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter?
Overall, FY25 was a year of steady growth for Axis Bank, both standalone and consolidated. Full-year profits are up 6% on both fronts. While Q4 standalone PAT was flat year-over-year, the quarter-over-quarter growth was strong at 13%, and consolidated Q4 PAT also grew 11% quarter-over-quarter, indicating good momentum towards the year-end. Key drivers seem to be healthy loan growth, robust fee income generation, especially retail fees, stable margins despite the rate environment, and improving asset quality. Operating expenses grew moderately at 6% year-over-year for the standalone bank in FY25.
You mentioned improving asset quality. Let's touch on that. NPAs provisions.
Definitely a positive story there. On the standalone side, as of March 31, 2025, the gross NPA ratio improved significantly to 1.28%, down from 1.43% a year ago and 1.46% a quarter ago. The net NPA ratio is very low at 0.33%, down from 0.35% last quarter, though slightly up from 0.31% a year ago. The provision coverage ratio, or PCR, stood at a healthy 75%. Slippages were also lower in Q4 compared to Q3. Net credit cost for Q4 was also down quarter-over-quarter at 0.50%. This indicates better control over credit quality.
That's a strong positive. Now, were there any other significant notes or events mentioned in the reports we should highlight?
We covered the dividend and the capital raising plans. The notes also detail the impact of adopting the new RBI directions on the classification and valuation of investments, effective April 1, 2024. This led to some transfers to the General Reserve but didn't negatively impact net worth. The ESOP allotments are also detailed. Nothing else seems unusually significant or alarming in the notes.
Okay, this is crucial. What about the auditor's report? Any qualifications or concerns raised by the joint auditors, Nissim and County LLP and KKC and Associates LLP?
This is indeed a very important point, and here the news is good for Axis Bank. Both the standalone and the consolidated auditor reports clearly state that the auditors have issued an unmodified opinion. This means they believe the financial statements give a true and fair view of the bank's financial position and performance in accordance with the accounting standards and relevant regulations.
So, no qualifications, no adverse opinions, no emphasis of matter.
Correct. There are no qualifications, adverse opinions, or emphasis of matter paragraphs in either report for the year ended March 31, 2025. They do include a standard paragraph stating that the Pillar 3 disclosures mentioned in the results haven't been audited by them, which is standard practice as those are often disclosed separately and are extensive. But the core financial results themselves received a clean bill of health from the auditors. This is a significant positive, indicating strong financial reporting practices.
That's a major positive takeaway, especially compared to reports where auditors raise flags. So, considering the performance, the stable asset quality, and the clean audit reports, what's the general outlook?
Disclaimer: as always, this is just our analysis of the results, and investors should consult with certified financial advisors before making any investment decisions. The outlook appears cautiously optimistic. The bank's management noted in the press release that they prioritized profitability over growth in FY25 due to the macro environment, but believe the operating environment is improving for FY26, which should help drive both growth and profitability. The strong capital base, improving asset quality trends, robust fee income, and well-performing subsidiaries provide a solid foundation. Key risks remain the overall economic environment impacting credit demand and quality, competitive intensity in the banking sector, and any unforeseen regulatory changes.
Right. So, to wrap up our analysis of Axis Bank's Q4 and FY25 results, steady performance overall, particularly for the full year with profits up around 6%. Q4 showed strong sequential momentum. Asset quality is improving, capital position is robust, NIMs are stable, and importantly, the bank received clean, unmodified audit reports for both standalone and consolidated financials. The subsidiaries are also contributing positively.
Exactly. While the flat year-over-year standalone profit in Q4 might raise an eyebrow initially, the strong sequential growth, the full-year performance, the context of the operating environment, and the clean audit reports paint a picture of a bank managing its business effectively. The planned capital raise also indicates readiness for future growth.
Excellent breakdown. Definitely gives our listeners a clear picture of Axis Bank's recent performance. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in to our financial breakdown.
Don't forget to follow us for more insights into the latest earnings reports. See you next time.